Ever find yourself just scrolling, endlessly scrolling through a feed, and then you look up and, whoa, an hour has totally vanished? Or maybe you felt that phantom buzz in your pocket, swearing your phone went off. Yeah, you're definitely not alone. The tech we use every single day is literally designed to do this, to grab our attention and build habits. So let's pull back the curtain and really unpack the psychology of how these products get us, well, hooked.
I mean, let's just face it, we're all hooked. It's a modern compulsion. This technology has woven itself so deep into the fabric of our lives that a lot of our actions have become impulses. It's that twitch to check a notification the second it appears, that immediate urge to open an app the moment you feel even a tiny bit bored. It's almost second nature, right?
Okay, look at this number, 150. Just let that sink in for a moment.
That is how many times the average person checks their phone every single day. And we're not talking about 150 conscious choices here. Nope. This is a deeply, deeply ingrained behavior. And at the very core of this behavior is one simple, powerful word: habit. You know, psychologists define habits as these automatic behaviors that are kicked off by cues in our situation. In other words, stuff we do with little to no conscious thought. But here's the kicker. These habits are not accidents. Not at all. They are engineered meticulously.
So that leads us to the billion-dollar question, doesn't it? How on earth do they do it? How can what is essentially just bits of code on a screen have such a massive influence over what we do every day? Well, the answer lies in a really elegant and powerful framework. It's called the hook model, and it's a simple four-step process that companies use to basically manufacture our desire and build these very habits.
So here are the 4 steps. You've got a trigger, then an action, then a variable reward, and finally, an investment. It's a cycle, a loop. And the whole point for a company using this is to bring you back again and again and again, all without having to spend a ton of money on ads or bug you with messages. Let's break this down, starting with step 1, the trigger.
All right, so every habit needs a spark, right? In the hook model, that spark is called the trigger. A great way to think about it is like that tiny piece of sand that gets inside an oyster. You know, it's that little irritant that kicks off the whole process of creating a beautiful pearl.
Now, there are 2 kinds of triggers. First, you have external triggers. These are the obvious ones. That notification sound, the email that just landed, that little red circle on an app icon screaming, "Open me." But the real holy grail for product designers is to connect to your internal triggers. These are your feelings. That little pang of loneliness. What do? You open up Facebook. That flicker of boredom, you're scrolling through Twitter. The moment a product becomes your go-to solution for an internal feeling, that's it. The habit is locked in.
Okay, so the trigger fires. What's next? That leads us straight into step 2, the action. And this is defined as the simplest, absolute easiest behavior you can do in anticipation of getting a reward.
Dr. B.J. Fogg from Stanford actually boiled this down to a simple formula. Behavior equals motivation plus ability plus a trigger. So B equals M-A-T. Now, for designers, this is pure gold. Because here's the secret. Trying to boost someone's motivation is actually really hard. But making an action easier, increasing their ability, that is by far the easiest and most effective way to change behavior.
I mean, just look at how online sharing has evolved. Back in the 90s, if you wanted to share something, you literally had to code HTML. It was hard. Then in the 2000s, blogging platforms came along and made it way easier. But today, you can share a thought, a photo, an article with a single tap. Bam! By making it radically, unbelievably simple, companies turned a super niche activity into a mainstream habit for billions of people.
Okay, so you've been triggered, you've taken a super simple action, and now we get to the really juicy part, the reward. But here's the secret sauce, the thing that makes it all work. It has to be a variable reward. See, neuroscientists have discovered something fascinating. What really gets our brains firing like a pinball machine isn't getting the reward itself. It's the anticipation of it. It's the thrill of the hunt, the what will I get this time. And these rewards, they generally come in 3 main flavors. You've got rewards of the tribe. That's all about us, about social connection and acceptance, like getting likes and comments. Then you have rewards of the hunt.
This is about seeking out resources, like scrolling your feed for that one interesting story. And finally, you have rewards of the self. That's all about mastery and completion, like that amazing feeling of hitting inbox 0 or leveling up in a game.
And that brings us to the final step of the hook. And honestly, this is where it gets really, really clever. After you've gotten your variable reward, the product asks you to do just a tiny little bit of work. This is the investment phase.
Think about it. Every time you follow a new person on Twitter, or add a song to a Spotify playlist, or pin an image on Pinterest, you are making that service better and more tailored for you the next time you use it. You are, in effect, loading the next trigger yourself, which makes it almost certain you'll go through this whole hook cycle all over again.
This taps directly into a really powerful psychological bias we all have, something known as the IKEA effect. The idea is incredibly simple. We put a much higher value on things that we've put our own labor into. So that little bit of effort we invest in a product, it doesn't just improve the product. It actually makes us value it more. It locks us in.
So, of course, after hearing all this, we have to talk about a critical question of morality. Because let's be blunt about it. Building habits in other people is a form of manipulation. And when you have this kind of knowledge, this kind of power, it comes with a huge, huge responsibility for anyone creating these products.
Now, there's a pretty simple way to think through the ethics of this. It's called the manipulation matrix. It asks two very simple but very powerful questions. Number one, does the person who made this thing actually use it themselves? And number two, does this product materially improve the user's life? And depending on the answers, you end up with 4 types of creators.
The creator you want to be, the ideal quadrant, is the facilitator. This is someone who is building a product they themselves use to solve a problem they have personally experienced. The empathy is just built right in because they are the user. And this is the sweet spot where you can create healthy, genuinely helpful habits.
Look, understanding how to build habits, it's not just some business school theory. It really is a superpower. It gives you, the creator, the ability to influence the daily lives of potentially millions and millions of people.
And as one writer put it so perfectly, if it can't be used for evil, it's not a superpower. That's exactly what this is. This knowledge can be used to build amazing, healthy habits that improve our lives, or it can be used to fuel mindless, time-wasting addiction.
So the final question here isn't just for the designers at big tech companies. It's for all of us. As users, we can now see these hooks and maybe start to reclaim our own time and attention. And as creators, we have to decide what kind of change we actually want to build in the world. This knowledge truly is a superpower. The only question left is, how will it be used?